From lovely Perfect 10, if you're not already aware, I serve on Denver City Council representing basically the center city. Right now, the current boundaries are Colorado, Colfax, and Spear, with the addition of the statistical neighborhood of North Capitol Hill, also known as Uptown. We are redistricting, and just for what it's worth, that means we've already voted on the new map and adopted the new map, which will take effect in July of next year. So City Council District 10 will change pretty materially by next year. So I have mentioned that before. I know that there continues to be a fair number of questions or concerns about redistricting, or when is it, or which district am I in? So I know that I am working with a mailer, or working with an external firm to send a mailer out to folks in District 10 to make sure that you know that if you voted for me, or if you voted for the other person, either way, I represent you all the way through July of 2023, even though the map has changed. So at any rate, we'll chat about that a bit more in other forms. If you have questions, I'm happy to go into more detail. And actually, I've had some people ask me recently what the point of this live stream is. So I just want to bring that up again. Each week, or many weeks on Friday afternoons, I come to the community live on social media. And one of the reasons I do this is because different people want to have access to their elected official in different ways. Certainly, we have dedicated office hours each week reserved just for constituents, and constituents are welcome to reach out for those office hours. Those could be virtual over Zoom. Yesterday's office hours, all of them happen to be in person, but so we're doing either one. But also we are regularly out in the community. But sometimes people want to reach out and interact with their council member and not leave their home. And this is a way to get some information about the city, get an update about District 10, and what I'm up to, and what I think is interesting, but about the city. But really, I recognize that this format isn't always as "quote unquote" organized as it is, as some people would like. Really, the point is to have a safe space, an opportunity that happens each week for people to have direct access to their council member without even having to leave home. So there you go. I do want to make a note. This is today's date is August 26th. 14 years ago today was the last day I could walk. So August 26, 2008 was the week of the Democratic National Convention. It was the Tuesday night of the DNC. And I was in a crash, sustained a spinal cord injury around T3. Well, actually, T3 is where I sustained the spinal cord injury. For those who aren't in the medical profession, that's basically nipples, which, of course, right there. So everything below T3, I have no mobility. I can't move anything. I can't move my stomach or obliques or legs or feet or whatever. So it has been a huge change for me in my life. I was a runner and a soccer player. I was on 3 soccer teams on August 26, 2008. But frankly, I think I'm a better person. I was climbing the corporate ladder and trying to make this world a better place for me on August 26, 2008. And here we are 14 years later. And I never considered being an elected official. I never really considered being an advocate for a community that is greater than my own. But now that I have joined the disability community, which, by the way, is the largest class that you can join at any time, and by class I mean protected class, that you can join at any time, whether you like it or not. So I certainly didn't have any plans to join the disability community on August 26, 2008, or any day before that. But hey, we get pitfalls sometimes, and we get things that change the trajectory of our world. So I'm very proud to be a hashtag barrier breaker. Colorado and Denver have a great appetite for supporting people who are breaking barriers. We have the first LGBT governor in U.S. history. We have the first Jewish governor in U.S. history, both in Governor Polis. We have Breonna Tattone, the first trans legislator in Colorado history, the second in U.S. history behind Danica Rome. We have Leslie Herod, who has broken barriers. We've got a lot of barrier breakers, particularly in the last 5 to 10 years. So I am the first elected official in Denver's history, local, state, or federal, who uses a wheelchair to get around. I'm also the first who identifies as a member of the disability community. What does that mean? That means that maybe other people had disabilities in the past, but they didn't claim it. And they didn't say that they were part of the disability community. So I want to thank the voters in District 10 for helping me break that barrier, for helping me be the first in history to represent the disability community. I truly believe that our democracy is stronger when it is representative of all the people. And I'm human. I'm not perfect, just like every other human, but I am doing my best to represent the interests, concerns of District 10, while at the same time representing the disability community at Denver, the Denver level, often at the state level, and sometimes even at the federal level, because of my office and because of the voters. So again, thank you so much for helping me break the barrier. David Ortiz is the first legislator in Colorado history to use a wheelchair for mobility, and he was elected just a few months after I was. He is a veteran. I'm not, but veterans with disabilities who sustained injuries in combat and elsewhere in the line of duty. They have the idea of a live day. I know Representative Ortiz just celebrated his 10th live day just a couple months ago. So congratulations, Representative Ortiz. This is my 14th live day, to use the terminology and the culture from the veteran community. So thank you so much for allowing me to be your voice, your servant on council. It has been an honor and a pleasure. Obviously, this is a day with mixed emotions for me, because just because of how much of a lower body athlete I was until this day 14 years ago. But that isn't the only reason I wanted to reach out today. I have a couple other things that I want to touch base on. I see that people have already added stuff to the chat. So let's see. Eliza. Thank you. So yes, you were saying we need your advocacy for all parts. I know that there has been a ongoing conversation about how Denver used to be a city in a park, and we are now. We continue to grow our population by leaps and bounds. We continue to develop the city, growing up both figuratively and literally. And I would say that our person to park ratio, person to park space ratio, it continues to dwindle, to diminish. So that is something that is important to me, and frankly, we as humans are. From the beginning of time until about 70 years ago, something like that, had a very close connection in the relationship between humans and nature. And it's not normal for us as humans to live in an urban jungle where we have concrete and buildings and asphalt and street lamps instead of grass and trees and birds. And so I really, I think it's important for us to to make sure that we do celebrate our parks. And so I continue to do that with the 5280 trail. I think that that's an important way for us to add park space using city property, as in our streets, and make sure that our city center residents have a wholesome, welcoming environment for getting around the center city. I believe we all deserve the freedom to get from A to B safely, no matter how we choose to get there. And considering how Vision Zero continues to go the wrong way in pedestrian and cyclist fatalities and serious injuries, I think it even more screams that we need something like the 5280 trail in our city. I also firmly believe that it is important for us to have the shared street system as well. I know that shared streets were just in the news, in the media just in the last week. I think it's great that we're doing a stakeholder process. We do stakeholder processes in lots and lots of different venues. And of course, we don't want to just shove something on the community without asking the community. But I also know that we had shared streets in District 10 for 2 years, and we had near unanimous support, particularly for 16th Avenue. So while I recognize that we should have a stakeholder process, I am a firm supporter and advocate for our 5280 trail and for our citywide shared street network. I believe that is the best way for us to bring more park system and park land to the city of Denver. I think it is the best way for us to preserve that freedom of mobility, safe mobility, and I believe it will enhance and nurture community as we feel safe being pedestrians and cyclists instead of encased in thousands of pounds of metal and glass, as in a car. If we don't have a vibrant pedestrian and cyclist system that is safe, then of course we will only have more cars. And if we continue to allow cars to invade the pedestrian realm, like parking trucks or buses or cars on sidewalks or in driveways blocking sidewalks, or I've posted on social media before, someone parked a boat blocking the sidewalk. It's crazy. Like the amount of things that we in the city of Denver allow to obstruct the pedestrian realm. So anyway, I there's a little bit of a tangent, but certainly thank you so much for your advocacy as well for our parks and recreation system. Okay, so one other comment from Parks and Rec. We're proposing to adjust Quality Hill pop-up to DDPHE reduced noise hours 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's a great update. You heard it here, folks. I did not know that until just now. So we're all getting a bit of new information right now. I think that makes a lot of sense, considering we have had a lot of outpouring of support for Quality Hill Park. We do know that it's a small park. It's a smaller than ideal location, and there's such a need for a sanctioned dog park in District 10 that the day it opened, there were so many dogs there and lots of barking and yapping, and so I could see what that would be frustrating for the neighbors. So thank you to our Parks and Rec folks for using Quality Hill as a temporary pop-up park. I'm very interested in hearing more from the community. If you have any thoughts or questions or concerns about Quality Hill, or Governor's Park has been used for years as a illegal off-leash dog park. I'd be curious to hear what your thoughts are about potentially using a section of Governor's Park, that might have more space for a sanctioned, fenced-in off-leash dog park. So there you go. So in addition to this being the 14th anniversary of my crash, I wanted to cover two other things that have happened this week. The first on Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? On the 24th. Yes, 2 days ago. My, how time flies. I must be having a lot of fun. 2 days ago, we, as in District 10 or Perfect 10, we hosted a town hall over Zoom for Congress Park residents regarding trash collection. So I don't know if everyone is aware, but about 14, 15 months ago, the Dottie, the trash collection folks, sent a flyer to Congress Park residents, to the vast majority of Congress Park, not all of it, but most of it, saying, they sent it on Thursday, and they said, come Monday, you're going to have to move your trash collection to the street, where it has been from, collection from the alley since the dawn of time until that notification. That was met with a lot of resistance and frustration with a lot of people who live in Congress Park, and so I actually invited Dottie to LUTI, the Land Use and Transportation Infrastructure Committee, to talk about the Congress Park trash collection strategy. That was July 27th of 2021. So July 27th, 2021. So that was a long time ago. And since then, we continue to get emails pretty much daily about the frustration of trash collection in Congress Park and having it be in the street. There are a lot of challenges. If there's trash collection in the street, then that interferes with street sweeping days. Having all those bins in the street make it difficult to find parking. And Congress Park is a neighborhood where the vast majority of homes, or I think it's 54% of Congress Park homes were built before 1940. I can find that out for sure going to denverperfect10.com. So let's see. Sorry, I'm doing this real time, but I will show you what I'm looking at, because often people want to learn more about the neighborhood in which they live, right? So if you go to I'll just go back to the homepage. If you go to denverperfect10.com and go to About District 10, District Neighborhoods, Congress Park, this data is a couple years old, I think, but it's still pretty relevant. But you can go here and you can see that 54% of homes in Congress Park were built before 1940. So the takeaway from this is that before 1940, cars were not universal. They weren't obligatory. And there were homes in Congress Park that were built without garages. There were other homes in Congress Park that were built with garages, but those garages have since been repurposed for additional living space. And so people are, concerned about parking, and rightfully so. So at any rate, I just wanted to share that you too can get more information about your neighborhood if you live in any of the Perfect 10 neighborhoods. We have them all listed here. And so at any rate, so we had some concerns about trash collection in, there we go, in trash collection in Congress Park. And we continued to go back and forth with Dottie. So I finally asked for a town hall and we ended up having it on Wednesday night. And I would say we ended up having 4 takeaways. The first takeaway is that Dottie and the trash collection folks say that they have a system in place for people who need assistance with their trash collection. So if you have a disability, or if you're an older individual and it is difficult for you to bring your trash cart to the street, Dottie has a program that they'll come out, they'll bring a supervisor, and they'll come out, take a look at your setup, your home, and likely provide accommodation. So I asked Dottie to make sure that program is streamlined. I did hear from people saying that they had reached out to Dottie, and I'm sorry, just in case I'm using an acronym. Dottie is actually an acronym. It's not a woman named Dottie. It's DOTI, the Department of Transportation Infrastructure. They do a lot of things, including oversee our trash collection in the city. So I'd heard from residents that asking for that accommodation fell on deaf ears or was never responded or whatever. So Dottie is committed to making sure that program is more accessible and more transparent. And I asked the nearly 50 participants on the town hall to copy me. First of all, reapply if you felt like you wanted to apply and were not heard. Reapply, but also to copy me. Send an email to my office so that we can track it and we can make sure that anyone who wants an accommodation at least gets that supervisor there and gets an opportunity to explain why that accommodation is important. So that was number one. The second takeaway is that I challenged Dottie to the trash collection folks specifically to be more transparent. They have continued to maintain that the trash trucks just don't fit in the alleys, and so at the town hall they shared a whole bunch of photos. They shared a video. I would strongly encourage them, and did at the town hall, encourage them to provide additional data and information for people so they understand what Dottie's concerns are about alley trash pickup. The third is that process where they said on Thursday that you're just going to deal with this change that's happening on Monday. That's not how we operate in the city. Maybe that works in a private business, but here in the city we are public servants, and it is important for us to engage the community whenever when we do sweeping changes like changing trash service for an entire neighborhood, which, as you may remember from that statistic or the web page, nearly 11,000 people live in Congress Park. So changing trash collection for that many people with that small a window of notification and no conversation, it's just not appropriate for us as a city. So Margaret Medellin, who's the deputy director over all of solid waste, agreed and committed to a more public and transparent stakeholder process for any future change that they want to provide the community. And then the fourth and final thing that I'm kind of most excited about is I challenged Margaret Medellin specifically, but Dottie generally, to seek out, obtain, and use electric vehicle trash trucks. They do exist. Of course, they are a little bit more in test mode right now because EV cars aren't that old, and so EV large vehicles are even newer. But I challenged Dottie to acquire EV trash trucks, which tend to be, at least to the designs that I've researched, tend to be smaller, and then therefore could potentially fit in the Congress Park alley. And so I challenged Dottie to commit to purchasing or obtaining somehow through a grant. And by the way, Excel has a grant for municipalities to get trash trucks, electric vehicle trash trucks, and Ms. Medellin said that she would seek and obtain electric vehicle trash trucks. And then I also asked if she would commit to prioritizing Congress Park as the first deployment of those EV trash trucks. So I think that's pretty important because I know that a lot of people in Congress Park are concerned about our planet. Hopefully, a lot more people outside of Congress Park are too. But I know a lot of residents in Congress Park are really concerned about climate change and our continued human habitability on the planet. So that's in addition to making sure that we have smaller trash trucks that can go back to alley collection. Having something that is better for the planet is important. And in the town hall, we had, before I even had the opportunity to address it, we had someone comment, a Congress Park resident comment about how he works at home during the day and the trash trucks are just freaking noisy. And it wasn't the loading and unloading of the trash itself, it was the diesel truck, the engine. And well, that also would be addressed by an electric vehicle trash truck. So I really hope that that comes to fruition quickly. And I did get a commitment from Ms. Medellin specifically that she would seek to obtain and prioritize Congress Park. She said she's already, because I've been asking Dottie about this for a while, she has already applied for the grant program and that Excel Energy has. And she said we should know in the next month. So that's interesting and hopeful news. If that isn't the case, I mean, that doesn't mean just because we had the town hall doesn't mean that the conversation is totally done, which is clear because some of you have already written in with continued frustrations about the town hall and trash collection. So anyway, I think that the town hall was a bit rough. I think that some folks in the community forget that that city employees are humans too, and but that said, I think that the crux of what people were asking about in the town hall is certainly relevant. I'm kind of wish that some people would find a kinder delivery. I maybe choose a few kinder words, but I can't tell everyone what to do. So there you go. So thanks for participating to all of you who did with the town hall and also in the preparation for the town hall. I did do multiple surveys. So thank you so much for all of those who participated, and there were a bunch of people who participated. The next thing I wanted to talk about, because it continues to be in the news, is safety concerns. So Union Station is not in Perfect 10 today. It will be as of July of next year. So I know a lot of people have had some serious concerns about Union Station. And good news, it sounds like the Union Station is a whole lot better than it was at the beginning of the year. I know that once Union Station, and I should say the bus stop specifically. So Union Station is the name of the statistical neighborhood, which is a whole bunch of blocks of space. But most of the challenges were the actual Union Station, like the RTD bus and train stop. That's more specifically the where the most of the challenges were, or maybe are, but not to the same degree. Anyway, we had a presentation this week in our safety committee that had the general manager of RTD, the new chief of police for RTD, new as in he started on Monday, so he was really new. We also had the mayor's office, Evan Dreyer, there to present. We had our, Denver's chief of police there and several other stakeholders. So it was really heartening to see that finally there were a whole bunch of different entities, agencies, and organizations that all came together to talk about Union Station bus stop. In that conversation, they said that that they recognize that there are additional hotspots in crime, including Civic Center Station. On the other side of the mall, RTD Civic Center has its own set of challenges too. And the challenges go all the way from Colfax and Broadway, where Civic Center is, all the way to, I would say, Colfax and Ogden. And I know that a lot of folks continue to reach out about crime in that corridor specifically. So someone made me aware of a Nextdoor post just this morning about that corridor, and said that I am not paying attention at all, or I'm not listening. I think there are a couple takeaways. One, I need to figure out how to reach these constituents who think that I'm not listening, because I believe I am, at least to some degree. Maybe I'm not listening in the way they want me to listen, though. So I have to figure out. I mean, we're available in a whole bunch of ways: email, telephone, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Let's see. Weekly, we have a web forum. We have this program every week. We have meetings, one-on-ones dedicated each week to constituents. And so I'm not sure exactly how these people want me to communicate with them. So if you have suggestions, please put it in the chat or email me to district10@denvergov.org. Actually, I think I have. Yes, email us at district10@denvergov.org if you have a suggestion on another way that we can communicate with constituents. But more specifically, in addition to the committee meeting that was at Safety this week, I specifically have been working on regular correspondence with the police, property and business owners, tenants, and the business improvement district along Colfax. But on top of that, regular communication, we had my office and I specifically organized a community meeting on February 20th with Denver police, adjacent businesses, property owners, tenants, and the Colfax Business Improvement District to discuss criminal activity. Again, that was February 10th. And then had another meeting with the deputy director of DOTI, the transportation infrastructure folks, on March 2nd, so less than a month later, to ask them to actively consider temporary or permanent closures of the alley or the street, or how can we reroute utility needs so that we can limit the criminal activity in this area. We also met with the Emerson School on April 6th, which is right there between 14th and Colfax, about at Ogden. On Emerson. That's why it's the Emerson School. Sorry. And now that meeting was on April 6th, and we talked with the school. We talked with tenants. I say school. The National Trust and Historic Denver, and the many other tenants that are there in the Emerson School, and we also, among other topics, we discussed the ongoing crime there, and then we also had a meeting with businesses on August 10th, and we specifically chose the corner beat right there at 14th and Ogden because of all the crime that's happening and the drug dealing. But that meeting included the executive director of our economic development office. And yes, they, just like I, don't have any direct authority to tell the police what to do. The chief of police is a mayoral appointee, and he reports to the mayor. So Jen Morris, the executive director of DITO, also does not have direct authority to tell the police what to do. But certainly, if we can add more voices to the conversation to provide more attention to the matter, then we should do that. We have also organized yet another meeting, and there are about 20 people, including the mayor's office, police department, the transportation infrastructure, DOTI, and a whole bunch of the property business owners, tenants, and the business improvement district. All of that's happening the week of Labor Day. And so I'm really hopeful that with that level of interest and attention and the number of agencies represented, including the mayor's office directly, I'm really hoping that we will get more attention to the Colfax corridor. It is an identified hotspot that identified by the Denver Police Department, and again, it was specifically mentioned in the safety committee on Wednesday. So we're really hoping that that we can address that. Denverite just had an article about businesses immediately west of the Capitol, so Capitol Donuts, etc., and they were saying that that only 4 of the 10 retail shops are have businesses right now, and so I think that means that we can do another conversation with the executive director of DITO to make sure that we develop that economic opportunity and maybe provide some incentives, but also, we could provide all the incentives, but if people don't feel safe being in that area of town, then as many incentives as we have, it just won't be as helpful if we don't address all of the violent crime that's happening right there. So there you go. Those are a couple, I guess, 3 updates: my Live Day, Congress Park trash collection, and crime and safety along Colfax between Broadway and Ogden. We don't have any other comments right now. So thank you so much for all you do for the city of Denver. Thank you for watching, and thank you for participating. Just as I believe our democracy is stronger when it's representative of all the people, including the disability community, I believe our democracy is stronger when we all participate. So thank you so much for participating with the live stream, and have a wonderful weekend.